We got a few minutes. Hi. Greetings, everyone. My name is J Love, and I represent the Justice for Gerard Movement. Gerard is my son. He was wrongfully incarcerated for a crime that he didn't do, unarmed robbery, that he wasn't even around. Someone saw him like 3 days later and accused him of a crime. And he was found guilty of that crime, parts of the crime. And so since that day, January the 24th, 2019, I have been advocating for justice for him and also working with others to advocate for justice for the wrongfully incarcerated, standing with the innocents. We're building a strong movement off of a temporary moment. So I want to welcome Trische Duckworth here from Survivor Speaks.
Hey, thank you so much, Jay, for having me on.
You're welcome. My sister in the struggle.
Yes.
The fight for justice.
Yes.
So you were out today.
Yeah. We were at the prosecutor's office in Ann Arbor, Washtenaw County Circuit Court. And there's a prosecutor down there that just renders injustice like never before to our people. John Vella is his name. So let me tell y'all the back.
Fellas, gotta go. Okay.
So we was down there, small in number, but man, that microphone was ringing all through the downtown area. Hakeem Crampton was there, Nate Frazier from Heart to Hearts, the Grady L family, and Mr. Petoskey even came. It was just, it was really nice. Like I was telling them, it doesn't take mass amounts of people to make a statement. Right. What it takes is consistency, staying the course, and doing the work. That's what it takes.
You're right. You're right. It doesn't take a lot of people. It takes some committed people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, and that's what we're here fighting for justice. Oh my goodness. So we done voted.
Yeah.
That was some before we even get into the whole meat and potatoes of why we're here today. And I want everyone to know that we have some other guests that's going to be coming on later on. But the reason we've been so got the angst on for weeks and months. It's because of this election, and look where it's going. It's interesting. That is
very interesting.
So we sitting by the TV. I'm not watching it. I'm not watching it. I'll wait till the final numbers pop up, and then
Well, if I turn my camera around, you will see that it's on mute. But I'm not consistently sitting up watching it, because at the end of the day, it's going to be what it's going to be, and I was telling somebody this the other day. What we really should be doing is sitting back with a strategy A, strategy B, because if one win, we got to do something, And if the other one wins, we got work to do. You know what I mean? So like at the end of the day, no matter who wins, we have work to do. What does that look like? And so, you know, we can waste our time looking at the numbers, or we can sit down and come up with some strategic plans about where we're going to be headed next in this movement.
Right. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Like, what's next? Turning this moment into a movement. Where do we go from here? There's so many paths, but there's one, you know, we're looking for justice. And guess what? This is like a perfect storm for justice.
Yeah.
They said in Michigan, they haven't had these many people who voted in over 50 or 60 years.
Wow.
So that's sending a strong message to our elected officials and people in power that people are tired.
Yeah.
I mean, on one side or the other, people are tired and people want change. And, you know, we might have different ways of looking at the change, but everybody wants some change because we're tired dealing with what we've been dealing with. So how do we get into contact with you, Trische, if people want to get in contact with you?
So we are getting ready to launch our website probably in about another 3-4 weeks at the end of November. But you can always get in touch with us on Facebook. Here's our logo. If you see there.
Yeah.
So, and you'll see it is usually decked out in purple. Also too, you can reach us at our phone number, 734-252-6075. And I'll get the email address for you before we leave here today. I'll put it in the chat.
Okay, cool. So, I guess we can get started.
Oh my goodness.
Ready? Here we go.
Ready, set, go.
I know. So now that the election is over, what's next?
So much. You know what I think is very interesting is that we still have people that think that this fight is going to be fought one specific way.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about this atrocity, when you think about racism and white supremacy, like, come on, we all must understand this is a huge giant. This is a demon that does not want to be conquered. So it's not going to just be one angle that this thing is fought. It's a spiritual battle and it's a natural battle. So there are things that you have to do on both sides, right? And so when you look at it, it's about, okay, what do I do? See, this is the thing that I think that people need to really focus in on is that what is your individual contribution to this movement, right? Because we all have gifts, we all have talents, we all have things that we need to use to be able to fight this fight for justice, right? And it doesn't look the same. You know, I say this often, we all have a fingerprint. We got this fingerprint and it's our fingerprint. It's unique to us, right? Mm-hmm. And so that means specifically that we all have an individual destiny or purpose. And we have to find that and then use that to help this fight. Everybody has to toil their own garden, right?
Right.
But what we do is we mobilize, bring it together, everybody get a seat at the table, and then we see how we can attack it. Right. But it's multiple ways for this to be done. It's not just one angle.
Right. But, you know, I'm going to say this like Sam, he says every single day, we have to organize. We have to organize. And we have to keep doing what we're doing. Coming out here and letting people know, educating people, letting them know what's on the table. Because a lot of people, I think, Trische, they really don't know what's really on the table. I think a lot of people are living in a little bubble. And And when they show up, they're like surprised too, what we're talking about and what's going on. So
Yeah.
so that's why we got to keep talking to people, because they don't they so in their bubble until something, you know, disrupts that bubble.
Yeah. Yeah. I call that privilege, because privilege allows you to look away from something and not really pay attention to it if it's not touching you.
Right.
And you could look at it and say white privilege, but there's even privilege even within our race as well, right? Not everybody has the same circumstances. And so again, I just think that people are so out of touch. And in order for us to really, really make an impact, we have to educate. People say all the time, I'm tired of talking about it. Okay, but unless you have a clear picture of where we've been, then we won't be able to correctly map out where we need to go.
Right.
So we have to have that clear picture so that we can move forward with the vision the way that God has intended.
Right. And like you said, there are so many layers.
Yeah.
To it. I mean, we're you know, I'm talking about wrongful incarceration, but the criminal justice system, period, you know, it's a big big piece of the pie that we need to dismantle.
Yeah.
And that requires us being real. And you know, some people they are I was reading comments on different posts today, and they were talking about law and order, and Donald Trump was, you know, the law and order president. And now that, you know, it looks like he's not going to win, it's going all kinds of chaos is going to break loose, and there's going to be some different. Now, I found this interesting. Some different Black people, and I was like, where are they getting this information from? But these different Black people that are going to be, you know, causing all kinds of chaos. And these narratives and these stories that people are putting out, it just makes it more alarming.
Very.
For people. And then they get sucked into the narrative of law and order, where these are just made up rumors and stories, and that we really have a problem.
I got a message today, actually, on the way home from the protest that said there was a militia group down in Detroit protesting.
I got that text.
And last night, I got a message that said that these militia groups are coming into Michigan, and that we need to watch our you know, Black sons and husbands, because they were going to be kidnapping people, torturing people, and all this stuff, right? And they said the NAACP sent this out. Well, the NAACP did not send that out, right? But there's all this stuff to add to this narrative, this fear mongering that takes place. Now, let's be clear. Can something possibly happen? Yeah. I mean, people around here kind of just going crazy. You know what I mean? But we cannot live in fear. We have to just continue to maximize this moment and fight. I tell everybody all the time, fight through it. Just fight through it. You know what I'm saying? And you do what's right. You be safe, like Lisa said. Hi, Lisa. Thank you. You do what's right.
Right.
And just keep doing what you're supposed to do. I told somebody today when we were out, because somebody came and squealed their tires and yelled out something. I said, we do not engage. Now, sometimes I'll talk back and forth, but no, not today. We do not engage. What we do is we do what we're here to do. And that is to reflect love, to demand peace, justice, love. That's what we want. That's what we're here for. Anything else is a distraction.
Right.
If somebody can get us off of our square arguing with them, then our moment of justice is just tainted. We don't want anything to distract the moment. Right. So we got to stay focused and do not allow individuals to pull us from our vision.
Right. And then the key thing you said about love, because love, you know, it conquers all.
Yeah.
And love would turn, you know, Dr. King, this is one of his quotes. Love would turn an enemy into a friend.
Yeah.
So we have to show up and love because that's the energy that we want. We
Yes.
have to give that. So with all of the everything that's going on, we just have to be reflections of that.
Yeah. We have to be. I made a post the other day about this, and I'm trying to find it now. But the thing that we don't understand is that hate is hate all by itself.
Right.
It don't need no help.
Right.
And it is the ugliest thing ever.
Right.
And just think about what would happen if we sprinkle love on that.
Right.
Right? Now, I'm not telling people, let people treat you any kind of way or whatever, whatever. But when you move in love, you don't even have to say anything.
Right.
It's just what exudes from your spirit into this earth, into the world.
Right.
And everything else will sort itself out,
Right.
you know, but we got to stay focused on the love and move strategically to fight this fight.
Absolutely. And that's going to take, again, organizing.
Yeah. Yes. Cannot get away from that. Let me tell you, I was thinking about this today, and these legislators better pay close attention because these races are successful right now due to grassroots efforts.
Right.
Look at Atlanta. In Atlanta, Stacey Abrams registered almost 1 million people to vote.
Right.
Young people, you know, anybody registering people to vote. I mean, so there's going to take strategic moments like that, organizing, mobilizing the people, coming together. And the reason why love is the number one ingredient, because for some reason we will not unite. For some reason, we find it so hard to come together, tearing each other down. Oh, look at them. They out there doing it. That looks so stupid. I ain't marching. I ain't this. Okay. Let's stop tearing each other down and take a moment to unite and see how far that gets us. Because I promise you, if we unite, we can get some work done.
Right. Find the love. Find the love for yourself. Find the love for your family. Because it's all a part of it's a part of your core being, love.
Yeah.
So when you are, I mean, even for me as a mother, because I love my son, you know, I just stand out here regardless of what, you know, somebody may think I shouldn't talk about it, or I shouldn't, you know, the prosecutor going to be mad, or this person is going to be mad, and all of that, you know, but this is my kid and I love him so much that I can stand out here and talk about it. It doesn't matter to me who is going to be upset about it, because it's about injustice.
Yeah.
And just imagine if more people took that same thing and said, hey, I love you so much. I love my kids so much that I don't want this to happen to another kid or another family, that I will, you know, I'm going to stand and I'm going to take, you know, for justice, because that's what it's about. Justice is about love.
Yeah.
Justice is about fairness. Fairness is about love. Equality is about love. You know, it ties you back to love.
Yeah. Everything ties you back to love.
Right.
Yeah. You know, I was thinking too today, people have these perceptions of what fighting for justice looks like. I had put on our page that we were going down to protest.
Mm-hmm.
And this gentleman came on the page and was like, well, didn't you guys just elect a new prosecutor? Aren't you going to give him a chance to do his job? His job does not start until January.
Right.
People are suffering injustices daily.
Right.
So are we going to sit back and wait until January for him to get on? No, we're going to pave the way.
Right.
For him to get in and make sure that it's understood that we got a seat at the table. Now, yes, we already have a seat at the table, but everybody's got to have a seat at the table. And every single time. So like I told him, we're not waiting. We're applying pressure. And that's the mode that we're in right now. That's what I want everybody to get in their spirit. We are in pressure applying mode.
Right.
I don't give a darn who wins the election. We at them. We on their head.
Right.
We not letting up.
Right.
And if we take that mindset and we unite and we show love and we have discipline, like the sister said,
right.
Man.
Love conquers all.
Yeah.
Again. So we win.
Yeah.
You know, I just put up protests and policy. They work together. Protest ignites policy and policy makers to create laws and create new policies that stand for the people, you know, that stand for us. Because right now, these laws and policies that's on the book criminalize us as soon as we walk out the door.
Yeah.
You know, all kinds of traffic tickets and all of these things, behaviors, not crime. You know, it's not a crime to, you know, speed. I mean, unless you speed and kill somebody. But I mean, going 5 over or maybe, you know, not staying at the stop sign. Those are not crimes.
Right.
But people lose their license and they end up going to jail for those type of things.
Yeah.
Well, this is why we protest, because we want to bring attention to all the injustices that are happening on a really low level that's affecting us on a larger level.
Yeah.
So protest and policy, it works together.
I like that. Jay. And that's, you know, let me tell you something. If you out here marching without a mission, you ain't doing nothing but burning calories. And that's just the bottom line. Right. So you want to make sure that the protest ignites the policy.
Right.
And you don't wait on your legislators to do it.
No.
Start researching how to write a bill. Write your own bill and introduce it and give it to them.
Right.
Let them do what they need to do, right? Because they're the legal experts.
Right.
But we don't have to wait on these folks to enact laws.
Right.
We can get signatures and get stuff on the ballot ourselves.
Right.
And we can vote for it. Right. We can recall people that don't do what we say.
Right. We're the boss. We pay the salaries of our legislators. They work for us. But we are so we had normalized some kind of way that they work for, they're the bosses. But we're the boss.
I don't know no job that you are on that you don't have a performance review and that you do not have someone holding you accountable. Mm-hmm. So here's the thing. You're right. They think they're the boss. You know why? Because we let them.
Right.
So we want to hold them accountable without first holding ourselves accountable to say, hey, we dropped this ball. Now, how do we pick it up? We pick it up by voting. Now, let me back up. Grassroots organizing, mobilizing, grooming our own candidates.
Yes.
Grooming our own candidates, raising money for them.
Yes.
Getting our own candidates in office. Let me tell you something. If you don't understand, look at Washtenaw County, that grassroots movement that got Ellie in office. Mm-hmm. Look at Wayne County, Victoria Burton Harris, that grassroots movement that almost put Victoria where she needs. Victoria gave that woman a run for her money.
Right.
Because of grassroots efforts. So we have to continue to build people up. We've got to get people put in positions. But at the end of the day, we got to do it together.
Right.
We got to do it together.
Rhonda said, protest with a purpose.
Yeah. Protest with a purpose, march with a mission. Because at the end of the day, if you're not doing that, I mean, now, you know, I think I have lost a little weight. My head ain't as big as it used to be. But we are marching with a mission.
Right.
We mean business.
Right.
We show up at city council meetings. Right. We're hosting forums. Right. And again, this is not, we're not new to this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Some of the stuff is in our DNA and it comes natural.
Thank you. You know how long our people been fighting?
Right. Right. I know when everything went down with Gerard, my first thought was, okay, I got to fight. You know, they don't know who they mess with.
Oh, no, that's right.
I'm not, what? So that was my first thought, not to get so, of course I'm emotional about it because that's, my kid, but
Right.
my first thing is like, I got to fight. I got to, put something together. I got to figure out how to protest, how to make, change, how to just keep on, putting his name out here. Like those were the thoughts that was in my head because look at my DNA. My great, great, great grandfather was born into slavery.
Yeah.
And so, and these things, and the way my family is, they have fight in them.
Yeah.
You had to have fight in you for us to survive 400 years of oppression and systemic racism and, everything that we're going through, lack of education, lack of jobs, lack of housing. So.
Jay, and I'll tell you, I got to say this. I remember when we first met and we were all going to them forums together. Jay was not taken down. Jay was there. Jay was showing up. Then next thing you know, I watched you transcend to another level in the fight. Like, you like, nah. I'm getting ready to have this protest. Like, and I'm just watching you on the radio. Like, you're just always constantly thinking of the next thing to do. I watched the mothers of wrongful conviction mothers. I mean, going to the forum, speaking, joining together, coming to the support groups. Like, I mean, it's going to take all that is action. I said all that to say action.
Right.
Action is what gets, action is what we need. Right. And this is even a call to action right here, right now. Like, what is it that you're supposed to be doing to help in this fight? Stop sitting on the sidelines talking about what we're doing. If you see a hole that needs to be filled, get out there and do it.
Right.
I'm just saying.
It's plenty of room.
Yeah. The harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Where the laborers at? Like they yapping.
Right. It's plenty of room for us all. We can get out here. It's room at the cross. Out here, we need people. I'm joking, but we need all types. Yeah. You might not be the protest, but you might be, the thinking, the writer,
Yeah.
You need all of that because the more we talk, the more we raise our voices, the more people, they can't shut us down. They can't deny us.
Yeah.
So, I always say this on everything. Silence is consent.
Yeah.
And we walk around here and we don't say nothing, but we're angry and we take it out on, on each other.
Yeah.
Instead of the people who needs to understand and know what's going on. We have to do our part, like you said. We have to do our part, and we have to be a part of the conversation. And we got to figure out how to get to the table, because if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And I'm tired of being on the menu.
Ain't that the truth for real right there? You know what, Jay? You just said something though that was very, very important. See, there was a trick that took place, right? It's called the social construct of race, right? And they divided us, black, white, brown, like we're a box of crayons, divided us, right? Got us fighting against each other. You got white over everything, thinking they're superior over everybody, right? Mm-hmm. Which is still even a trick, because the ones at the top, they don't care nothing about none of us.
Right.
They don't care nothing about you being white, black, none of that. Now they prefer a white over a black, but they don't care about them either.
Right.
All they care about is green.
Right.
And now what they've done, they've divided us by race, got us down here distracted, fighting against each other about race while they continue to make money, continue to ruin the country, continue to bring in all of these poisons and things against us. While we're distracted, the world is disappearing all around us.
Right.
So we would understand that and say, wait a minute, we got to come together. White, black, everybody, we got to come together and fight against that 10%, 1%, 2%, whatever percent it is. It's not that many of them. It's more of us.
Right.
Think about what we will be able to do together, but we cannot come together because we are so busy being divided by a trick to keep us all down. And that's just crazy, man. It's crazy.
I like what you said, the distracting. They got us distracted. And when we're distracted, we can't focus on what the real issue is.
Yeah.
The real issue is injustice. And until we don't get focused, we're all over the place.
Right.
What you say? I see PG. She said free hashtag free Gerard. Black people updates and what's up with the Prince Gerard. So Gerard is he's presently still at Cotton Correctional Facility. And he told me, Trische, that they're testing them every other day for COVID. Yes. And I asked them about that. About them, and I said, aren't you tired of getting that thing stuck up in your nose every day? And he said, yeah, because it's starting to hurt. But there's people in these facilities that's starting to get sick again. So, we did all the email campaigns.
Right.
Send those emails to the governor. And we still have the same issues. And although we're talking about, COVID amongst ourselves, notice the silence and the quiet about COVID in the prison.
Yeah. And it's running. I heard they're giving those cocktails out too, those vitamin cocktails now.
Right.
That everybody is getting every day. Again, another distraction.
Right.
Take our minds off of, individuals that are incarcerated that don't have a chance to social distance at all.
Right.
How can you do social distance? My mom told a good friend of ours, well, sleep with your mask on. I'm like, sleep with your mask on? How do you sleep with your mask on? Somebody that has asthma too, like they know that these individuals are in poor conditions and they don't care. And we sat up and watched her do absolutely nothing. She made all these decisions to save Michigan, but when it came to MDOC, she'd carelessly take it or leave it like it didn't matter.
Right.
In my opinion, all the prisoners I hate prisoners, detained citizens need to come together and sue the state.
Right.
For not keeping them safe during these conditions. Right. She could have let multiple people out. She did not. Look, Gerard coming home. Why he couldn't come home back then?
Right. He should be home now.
Why couldn't he come home? I mean, it makes absolutely no sense. But see, in my opinion, I thought she was going to be the VP.
Right.
And she didn't want to do anything to make. See, that's what I'm saying. They played Russian roulette with our lives, playing games with our lives, man. Right. And that's the type of stuff that we got to hold them accountable on. People was like, y'all shouldn't be sending that stuff. And they not listening. Okay, but we going to just lay down and take it?
Right. Right. You're right, because the COVID inside, when Gerard is in a section where there's like a barn, some kind of, and it's like 200 people in this space. So how do you social distance when there's no social distancing in a building with a big gigantic room with 200 people? Mm-hmm. So I sent him vitamins, but he has Crohn's disease, and he has to get this infusion every 4 weeks. and they were late with that. You know, I had to contact the state about that to, you know, get his infusion. And then he has a lump on his chest. And of course, what's their name? Horizon refused to let him get an ultrasound. Now, for them to say he needs to get an ultrasound, you know, they're not trying to do anything. But so I got someone on that. So, you know, but all these things that's going on inside where there's a pandemic, you know, where there's a where they're not even eating healthy foods, you know, they're eating carbs and all kinds of garbage, you know, every day. And then they want to give you a cocktail of vitamins. They can't get any vegetables or fruit. I know I asked them about fruit, and he told me they have frozen bananas. So that's probably some old fruit or something. But, you know, some of these places grow gardens, and they give all the, you know, the garden, you know, the fruits and vegetables away, and they can't even eat them for themselves. And don't you think that inside a prison, when you have healthy men and women and they're eating healthy foods and they're getting treatment and they're getting counseling or whatever else that they may need that's positive, that once they return positive and productive and not angry and upset because they was treated so inhumane. I mean, maybe it's just me, but
they don't want them to return positive, because that keeps that revolving door going. Right. And the thing about it is, it's the money. You know, they keep the revolving door going. They can keep making all this millions and billions of dollars off prison privatization, but then it's the biggest black market for drugs that you would ever see in your life.
Right.
And people like, oh, I don't know. How do they get in? The people not bringing them in. It's the guards.
Right.
It's the administration. It's the staff bringing guns in, bringing cell phones in, and then turn around and write a ticket to the person that got the cell phone.
Right.
Why you gonna write a ticket to the person that got the cell phone? Why don't you fire the person or hold the person that got it?
How did they get a cell phone? It's like the mail. They're making copies of the mail. They can't get the original mail. So, because they're saying that, you know, they can put stuff on a letter. Who's going through all of this to put stuff on a letter?
They doing it. I've heard about that. But they putting that, what's that stuff? K2, putting it on a sheet of paper, some type of concoction, and sending it in. On the paper.
So they're not getting their mail themselves. You know, it's not like they have a mailbox. So whoever is handling the mail, they know what to look for. So it can't get out in population unless you're turning a blind eye to it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But anywho, that's Gerard's, he's still there. We're still fighting for justice. We're still working on his appeal. He'll probably, and I know I talked to so many lawyers, but this one lawyer has said Gerard to be home before his appeal will happen, which is, you know, true. But I'm glad, one positive thing about it, we have to look forward to is the Michigan Supreme Court. It's the first time that there have been progressive members on the Supreme Court. So, and I was telling him the other day, because he was worried about the appeal. I was like, oh, we have a progressive Supreme Court now that's going to be, hopefully, we're praying that they're for the people. Michigan Liberations did a lot of work for them too, as well. And we have that to look forward to, and hopefully it works out for a lot more people who are filing appeals, who need the Michigan Supreme Court.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, I'm about to put it up there. Defund the police. Ooh, no, come on, Trische. Now, for real, when you say defund the police, people think that means get rid of the police.
Right.
And we're not saying get rid of the police.
Yeah.
Nobody wants you to get rid of the police. However, how about the police have less tanks and all kinds of other crazy stuff?
Military weapons. Do they need military weapons?
Right. So how about that? And use some of this money for programs that's productive for the community, because we got little kids now that fear the police.
Yeah.
They cry when they see them. So I remember when I was a kid, they had, the police used to come to your school, and they used to have all the kind of programs. I remember the Blue Pigs, and they used to come and sing and, do their little thing. And it promoted a little bit. It promoted like, a positive reflection of police for the children, and not military stormtroopers that's coming in schools and handcuffing little children because they're having a temper tantrums and all kinds of other things. So what's your thoughts on that?
A few different things. Well, what you just said about the children and the image of the police. Tamir Rice. Let me just drop that name right there. Because I don't give a darn if you come to my school or not now. Because I know you kill kids.
Right.
So you come in my school, I'm steering clear of you. So the image of the police is already stained in our children. And we need to let that tragedy sit with us. I remember the family. I don't know what store they were at. I don't know where it was at, but a family of 5, a mother and her 4 or 5 kids.
I remember that.
All on the ground, handcuffed, police guns. I mean, like,
let's fund that.
Right.
Fund that mindset.
Yep.
Because go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm interrupting you, but children in handcuffs with guns drawn. That's trauma for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
Let's defund that. But go ahead.
And so now let's talk about trauma. Because that is one thing that I think nobody takes into account when they think about all the atrocities that we've been through as a people. A lot of people down us, talk about us, say this and that, but they don't understand the trauma, and especially kids that have continually seen this type of behavior from the police. So yeah, that definitely needs to be defunded. When I think about defund the police, do I see a world without police based on the way the Constitution is? No, I don't. Do I believe that the police can be reshaped? I really don't. And I'm going to tell you why. I mean, that may be our only recourse, and I'll tell you about that in a minute, but police were slave catchers.
Mm-hmm.
They doing their job right now. From the beginning of time, their job was to hand over us, to kill us, to give us back to the master, or whatever it was. And so, what do we see right now? Kill us, catch us, and give us back to the master. Mass incarceration. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So all of these things we continue to see.
Put us in the prison plantation.
Exactly. And how do you build something new on a rickety foundation? It's impossible. If the foundation isn't fixed, whatever you build on top of it will not stand. So it has to be shredded from the ground up, and the principles put back in place, the reimagining of what policing could be, right?
Right.
In our communities. What do I see that really happening? I mean, I'm a very optimistic person, and I believe what God shows me. So I believe anything is possible, but it'll take a lot of work. It'll take legislation.
Mm.
It'll take legislation. We've had no clear legislation for African Americans since the Civil Rights Act.
Right.
So it's going to take legislation. When I think about laws, and Valerie says this all the time, and laws are legally allowing white supremacy. We've got to do something to reframe that narrative of what laws really should be, and set laws in place that will get us the justice that we need and deserve.
I had to take a breath when you said legally allowing white supremacy, because that's what it is.
Or legislatively allowing white supremacy.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot, Trische. I mean, but it's real. This is what the times that we're living in. And so this is why we come here and educate and put this information out, because these are things that people just don't think about. Or, along in their lives every day, humdrum, and they don't think about the parts that really are affecting you. You only can go so far. You only can do so much. Qualified immunity, I think, is one way for accountability and transparency. I mean, for real. When you think about, you say Tamir Rice and so many others, the laws are in place so that they don't have to stand accountable for the things that they do. And this is one of the things that we really need to look at getting rid of. And we talk about the police all the time, but for prosecutors and for judges, because they're prosecutors that they're intentionally doing things that put people away, intentionally knowing there's evidence and don't bring it to the table, intentionally suppressing information. I'm gonna go back to Gerard again. Intentionally losing his phone with information on it that would clear him, that wasn't found until he was in prison. Intentionally not showing video of the people saying it wasn't him to the court, but only showing a video when the police was putting him in the police car. Intentionally showing a video of the back of a head or somebody, and not getting a video of the actual where you can see the person at the ATM, see the faces. So this is why we need qualified immunity, because of these intentional acts that put people away for 5, 20, 30, 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
Must somehow be repaid. These people need justice. And justice is not only with a dollar sign. It also needs to be with people being incarcerated for the things that they did intentionally to harm somebody else.
Yeah.
Right, Dina. Dina said unethical practice. Yes.
Yep. I sat through you, and Vernell Vass, she's in the group with us. I sat through her son's retrial. Moffitt took it up to the Supreme Court, got it overturned. They got the retrial. Her son and a co-defendant did 6 years already. The co-defendant is still there. Her son is now out and got a not guilty in this retrial. You know why he got a not guilty in this retrial? Because the jury was privy and able to watch a tape
Mm.
Now, let me back up.
Okay.
The guards that were standing outside, who really, I believe, did this, okay? I believe they did something to their boss. That's just my little theory, but I don't know. But they said this car circled 4 to 5 times. Each and every one of them got up on the stand in this retrial. And Lillian Diallo impeached every last one of them. Judge Miriam Bazzi sat up there knowing that these individuals perjured themselves and said something different from the last trial, and she did nothing. Nothing. So now you got that. The video comes up. The jury sees the video. Jay, if it was a car that circled 4 to 5 times, me and you was in it. But guess what about the video? The video wasn't shown in the first trial.
Wow.
The video was not shown in the first trial. How can a prosecutor, and the prosecutor they sent was somebody down from the AG's office, Donna Pendergrass, which is horrible. And I stepped to her, I said, excuse me, you really not trying to try this case with no evidence, are you? I sure am. And she went on with this case and used all this bold evidence. I mean, when I tell you all the witnesses were impeached, even down to the lying officer, Nancy Foster, who sat up there on her case notes for this case, signed that she picked up a tape from Club Pandemonium. She said she picked up a tape from St. Andrews. In this trial, excuse me, the first trial, no tape. This trial, the only tape is tape was from Club Pandemonium. The tape from St. Andrews that she signed for, can't nobody find it. That tape would have showed the angle of what happened, but it's gone. She herself, officer, got impeached on the stand. How does a judge let people get impeached in her courtroom? And this how she was looking every time. She looking out, she like, oh my God, I can't believe they're lying like this. What you mean? You could charge them perjury.
Right.
Contempt. So many things that she could have did in her courtroom. So again, when you have folks that are supposed to be upholding the law but are acting lawless,
right,
that's what we need to be working on. And the only thing to do that is qualified immunity, because it will hold a judge accountable, it will hold a prosecutor accountable, and it will hold police accountable, because they all are hand in hand. Wrongful convictions start with an overzealous cop.
Right.
Giving charges to an overzealous prosecutor.
Right.
And giving in a courtroom of an overzealous judge who don't give a darn about justice, and they all work hand in hand.
That don't also live in a community, that don't really care about Black people, and and do what they want and go home into their protected communities.
Yeah.
And when you talk about that, it just made me think about, Gerard case all over again, the jury makeup. It's not a jury or your peers. And that's another way. That's another way we're going to have to engage our community, and we're going to have to take accountability, because we're not standing up for our people. We're not showing up for jury duty. We figure out ways. I'm going to figure out, I'm going to tell them I'm sick or I can't sit long. But no, this is our civic duty. Just like voting is, this is our duty as well. People have a right to have a jury of their peers.
Yeah.
And because your peers might all live in Livonia and Redford and wherever else, that shows up to court, and then you have these ones in Detroit or people, that look like us, that don't want to sit there and, support us. And this is how our children and our family members and loved ones end up, someplace that they shouldn't be, because we don't have people that's supporting us.
Yeah.
And you're talking about these police officers. It amazes me how Detroit has on record over 70 police. No, it's probably more, but we know there have over 70 police officers that lie so much that they can't testify in court. So my question is, how are you still working as a police officer? Because I know these jobs, they have to say an oath and live up to this oath. But if you lie so much that you can't testify in court, what is your purpose? And so when you have this going on down there, and I remember talking to one of the lawyers while I was down there, and he was saying, these judges know these officers that come in here and lie all the time.
Yep.
So how do you protect the community from these people? If you know it as a judge that they lie all the time, the prosecutor knows that they lie all the time, how are you protecting the community? Because your job is to protect and serve. But you're making, you're being a liar, and you're being corrupt, and you're doing all kinds of other stuff. It's not protecting us. So
they're protecting the liar because they some liars too. That's why.
Right.
And if it's exposed that the officer lied, then it's going to be exposed that the prosecutor lied. Then it's going to be exposed that the judge lied, and that they are all corrupt. So in order to keep the thing going, they all got to cover it up, cover their tracks. Right. And in the meantime, the community is the one suffering because you got individuals that are sitting in prison who ain't got no business there, i.e. Gerard, i.e. Stephen, i.e. the Veazey brothers, so many different people.
Right.
You
Andrew, Kenneth, all these people that's wrongfully incarcerated. Yeah. We have to tell our stories. We have to be more, and we have to stay activated. We have to not be okay because we got Gary Peters back. No, we have to hold Gary Peters' feet to the fire. I sent Gary Peters myself 4 or 5 emails. I left calls, messages, and I have yet to hear from Gary Peters. So now that he's, that we got him back in office, we need to hold him accountable for this. We need to hold Gretchen Whitmore accountable for this. She has the same people in charge of Michigan Department of Corrections from the from Snyder people. So why do we still have these same people? Why didn't you bring some people in to, balance this out? Why? We need some accountability. We need some transparency. We need some transparency down at the courts. We need prosecutors that's going to be transparent. Like you were saying earlier about Kim Worthy, Victoria gave her a run for her money. Now she knows how we feel. Yeah. We done went down there in front of your door. So you know how we feel and where we at. So we need some accountability and some transparency. We're not going to continue to accept the same crap that we've been accepting, forever, for years and years and years. Silence. That silence is consent. We've been okay. We've been so silent that they thought we was okay with it. This is a new day. We not okay.
We're not okay.
We need education. We need a governor that's going to come and get these schools together. We got all of these big corporations, but the schools need money. These kids are out because of COVID. That's another thing. We need COVID together. We need some more accountability. We dying out here. I mean, all of this, we got corruption, we got wrongful incarceration, food desert. Detroit, I don't know about where you live, but Detroit is almost a food desert. I mean, so all of these things that, play to get us off balance as people. We need that people that's going to be in office that's about making us whole.
Yeah.
Pain of injustice. You're right, Tina. Police and policy upholders. They are here to protect business and commercial interests. Yeah.
Always. But they can do this because it's allowed. If you got where you can just do things and nobody ever challenges you, then you think you'll be able to get away with it. So.
Right. So we need clear mission. That should be we need to get clear on the mission, everybody was upset about Ice Cube and his agenda, but we need an agenda. We need to figure out, what it is we want. We need to start being okay with asking something. And that comes from feeling worthy of something. We have some worthiness issues that we need to work on too.
Yeah.
Because when you feel like you're worthy, it is okay to ask them for something. They're asking for our votes, and we need something back. We need something in return. And we shouldn't have to wait 2 or 3 years to get something. We're talking about within the next 6 months, we want to see some activation of something back to our communities. We're not going to just sit back and keep on, holding our breath and voting for these people that we really didn't even want to vote for because they do what they're supposed to be doing, but we don't have any other choice, any other choices in the matter. So therefore, we need somebody to say, hey, I see you guys, I hear you, and this is what I'm going to do. And we have to be okay with saying, I'm letting go of these old mindsets, and I'm going to start asking for something from my phone.
No more something for nothing.
Amen.
No, let me say that again. Let me say that for the people in the back.
Right.
No more something for nothing. We've all been guilty.
Yeah.
We've all been guilty of it. So I'm not saying it in an accusatory manner. I'm just saying in this new era, I run that. I mean, the real conversation here is racial equity. Because racial equity is going to cover education, housing, healthcare, employment, criminal justice system across the board to end in a conversation about reparations, to repair the atrocity of racism and the effects of white supremacy and what it has done to our people. That's the only conversation. Right. Anything else outside of that, you just blowing smoke.
Right.
There has to be a repair of what has happened, or we will never flourish as a people. And until we as a people get that on the tip of our lips, you'll have some of us that be like, oh, reparations, that'll never happen. And if you say it won't happen, it won't happen.
Right. And if you keep on acting the way you're acting, and
right,
not that you're worthy of reparations.
You go.
It's going to happen. And, just like, we were talking before about protesting, we are the highest consumers of goods. We can shut some stuff down. We can make stuff happen. I mean, we just made history with our votes. So we can make stuff happen if we take hold ourselves accountable, hold ourselves responsible.
Yeah.
This is for your future, your children's future, their children's future, their future, the kids coming after them. And we have to take responsibility for our actions. So my last, Dina, my last thing is, how do we keep people activated?
When you find out, let me know. The biggest thing that I can say is an example, right? When we were out here this summer, we had up to thousands of people with us at one point in time. Dwindles down. We probably had like 7 people out there today, less than 10 people. But I told somebody, I said, I'm not going to scold nobody about the numbers, because at the end of the day, as long as we continue to stay active and people see the example of that and we continue to encourage them, then I believe people will get on board. What happens is we start saying, y'all ain't doing that. Y'all better come on. Y'all ain't. I don't know if I want to hear all that.
Right, shaming people.
Don't nobody want to be shamed, because guess what? As a people, we've been so downtrodden. We have lost our will to fight.
Mm-hmm.
We've lost our motivation. We have accepted mediocrity as our plight, as our future.
Right.
So there has to be a word that will uplift and help change the hearts of our people. And so that's all we can do, is continue to speak life, continue to encourage, and continue to be the example.
Right.
You know, people, when you think about change, and I would say, be the change you want to see.
Right.
So, I mean, hey, we get out there. Like I told you, I was so dog tired from the setup, the breakdown, and then having to bring all that stuff in the house. But guess what? This is just what it is. Right. This is the role that has to be played for justice. And you got to think, at least we ain't getting beat. We're not getting sprayed down with holes. The dogs aren't being brought out on us. You know what I'm saying? Right. So how dare myself get weary because I got to bring in some boxes? You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, suck it up, refresh, rest, because that is important.
Right.
Get back out there. I promise you, if you keep moving, people will follow.
Right. You're right. You got to show up as the change. You have to show up, you know, as with a different mindset, because it's contagious.
Yeah.
So the longer you show up as the change, the more you speak out, somebody's going to say, hey, what you talking about? And then they're going to ask you how can I help, or how can I get involved? And like you said earlier, it don't take a whole lot of us. It just takes a few people that's committed, that's, you know, ready to be out there and to stand with us. Valerie said, too many activist groups doing the same thing. How do we come together and work together? Woo-woo.
Okay. This is a huge one.
Yeah.
Because everybody want to be the leader. Nobody wants to follow. I believe one of the greatest examples of togetherness is what Michigan Liberation does.
Yes.
Michigan Liberation is a master. I mean, they masterfully bring individuals and different groups together to correlate. And, you know, sometimes people fade off and they come back, whatever, but, you know, they definitely try to embody that, empower that. That is what we're trying to do here in Washtenaw County. Bring everybody together. You know, groups have been fighting this good fight for a very long time, right? Mm-hmm. But when you understand and come together with people and not reinvent the wheel, because we got a habit of doing that.
Right.
I'm going to start my stuff, you know, and it's like, okay, well, but is somebody else doing that? You know, you want to link up with them, or, you know what I'm saying? Look, we are our leaders in our own right. We all have a seat at the table, but we got to do it together. I said that earlier. We got to do it together. This is not no one man show. This is about we, the people. Mm-hmm. Coming together, using our different gifts and talents, and not knocking one another out of the box, right? But joining together and using resources and joining your resources together so that we can make a powerful impact. It can be done, but we just got to do it.
Right. And it takes still, again, educating people, showing people how work together look like. You know, when I first met Nicholas, you know, I met him, I think online, and he sent me a message about one of their meetings. And then when I met him, he was like, oh, I'm going to take you right to the person you need to be talking to. And that's when he took me to you.
Oh, wow.
So, but even Michigan, they invite people to the table.
Yeah.
Because you are, this is your story. But the whole piece is justice. So they put all these different people in, you know, these different pieces to the puzzle together and work as a whole. And that's how we was working with Victoria, you know, was out here with her because they brought, you know, different people to the table. And even I saw him the other night where he was out with Detroit with Breathe. They just work like that. And so we have people who can let go of the egos a little bit and decide that we can all work together. The movement will be strong. Yeah. Let's see. It's designed for them to win. You really want to win? Start at home. Teach our children's law at home. Start with citizenship. Teach your children that they are not citizens, but they are citizens, and show them how to seize their freedom at 18 and how to defend it. Yep.
You know what? That right there, and I know we've passed our time here, so I'm sorry. But I tell people this all the time. This is a simultaneous fight because we can start at home while we want. If these barriers are still in place, everything that we do can be undone, right? Because of the system. So we have to work, and that's why it goes back to what I said earlier. Everybody work your area. Mm-hmm. You start at home. You start in the community, empowering our people, right? And then you have people that are fighting against systems. I mean, everybody has a role, but it can't be one without the other. It has to be both simultaneously so that one won't undo the other as well, but they're both equally important.
Right. Like Valerie said, we need to learn how to agree to disagree.
That's right.
We disagree, we divide, and talk it. It's horrible, yes. And that's true because once we disagree, now we're distracted.
Yep.
We're so busy fighting about something that we shouldn't even be fighting about that we lose focus on what we came together for in the first place.
Yep.
So we have to, like, back to turning the movement into a moment is, get focused, take this moment and get focused, because that's how we build a strong movement.
Yeah.
And we got to educate ourselves. We're talking about our kids. We got to educate ourselves. Some of our adults are not educated. They're disconnected. So how do we bring the kids together if we can't even come together? And, so we got our work cut out for us, but I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
Because this is, since the civil rights, and I guess I was probably a little kid or a baby back then, but the movement right now, the moment right now is ripe for justice to happen. We just have to engage it. We have to get out here and make our stands and be clear on our demands. And let me see, we got another. Our educational system is geared to slavery. Freedom is never taught in the current educational system. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Meanwhile, they out there praying that the vote stop.
Wow.
They speaking in tongues, got their hands all on the door.
That's a whole nother conversation, Trische.
That's the show next week.
That's a whole, they want to suppress our vote to fit their agenda.
Yeah.
But okay, so thank you, Trische. I guess Reverend Ed Pinkney sent me a message saying that he was going to be on longer than he thought he was. But okay. Because Reverend Ed Pinkney is a true warrior.
Yeah.
For justice, and I love to hear him talk.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you. I want everybody that's listening that we'll be back next Friday. This is just going to be our ongoing thing. Every Friday at 6:00, we're going to talk about wrongful incarceration. We're going to talk about criminal justice reform. We're going to talk about reform, period. And we're going to talk about, all the other things that coincide with reform And so we could take our life back.
That's right.
and live happily, in this world. Even with the distractions and the destruction, we still can live happily and fight for justice.
That's right.
So until next week, I want to say thank you guys for joining us, and for all of us, those that missed it, you can come back and watch it on the replay, or you can get the link as we're on YouTube as well now.
Yeah.
So, we're moving, we're spreading out.
Yes.
This movement. And Trische, anytime.
Thank you.
We can always have this conversation. And if you want to join us, just send me, join the conversation. Send me a message on Facebook, JLove, on Messenger, or freegerard01@gmail.com, and or on the Justice for Gerard Movement page. So thank you guys. And Trische, we'll talk, because next week we can talk about who is our president and what that's going to look like for us, because I'm going to say this thing and we're out of here. All politics is local. So
thank you.
All politics, even this, what's going on right now, is tied to us locally. So we had to pay attention. So
love you too, Allie, Dina, Valerie. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Thank you, Donald.
Thank you, Jay.
PG, you all guys, you have a great weekend. Bye.